year, in the beginning of March, so like this time period, last year in the beginning of March, the Washington Capitals boys went out to California and they played a road trip.
The same road trip.
At Anaheim, at Los Angeles, and at San Jose. This was the road trip that was like the end of their mediocre play. Could this be the road trip that ends the Nashville Predators?
And when we say mediocre play, what was their record?
Leading into this, I have no idea.
I think it was 39 or 40 wins.
No, it'll tell you right here. So leading into that 3-game road trip, right? They played the Maple Leafs the one day prior to that, on the 3rd. They were 37, 21, and 7.
They were worse. Nah, they were about the same.
About the same.
Same amount of losses, but they had 2 less wins, 2 less games played. We always have the most games played. Anyway, they're essentially the same. And then they turned it on and went 11-2 in their last 13 games of the season.
It got hot. Now, we're going to take a break. We're about to come back to that. I want to go through a few things. One, hit that subscribe button on the show. Screenshot it or tweet at us. Say you want to get a hat. We'll give you a hat. Also, along with the Cream of the Crop podcast and the Infield Fly podcast, we are doing a March Madness bracket challenge. Now, we're all Tennessee fans. Rocky Top to the end. It's, you know, could be the Vols year. It's currently the SEC tournament happening.
Probably won't be the Vols year.
I'm wearing orange.
Probably never the Vols year.
Never the Vols. Anyways, but we're going to do that. If you want to join that bracket challenge, ready for this? This is going to sound weird, but this is what our bracket challenge is called. We're going to put together a bracket. The other 2 podcasts are going to put together a bracket. And you also need to put together a bracket and join this group. It's called Cream of the Hattie Fly. Cream of the Hattie Fly. I did not create it. Shout out to Blake Rochelle of Infield Fly. Quite an interesting group name there. But
that was a sick tic-tac-toe goal.
We have the
Pittsburgh is destroying Buffalo.
We have the game on right
sick.
now.
All right, continue.
So go join that. That would be awesome.
Cream of the Hattie crop.
No.
Cream of the Hattie fly.
Yes.
That's weird. All right.
That's so weird.
So we're all gonna make one, and then we're gonna make one like together and join it. So it's like our bracket, and we're gonna destroy all of you. So we dare you to join us. But I was wrong. The Nashville Predators, I was like, hey, we're going to go on and win from here after we won those 2 games in the shootout.
Yeah,
and then we lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, Ben texted me and said, I think we're going to get 6 points on this California road trip. And I laughed a little bit.
Do you remember when he said, when Ben said, oh, what was it? The win, like, sparked them, watch out. I just remember Kama watch out for this team.
Yeah, it was after the second shootout win over Minnesota. Ben was like, watch out for this team. I'm like, I ain't watching out for nothing. He's shaking his head right now. It's tough. But, you know, this is the road trip that the Caps turned around. I'm not saying the Preds are going to do the same thing. I really wanted my goal for this Preds team on this 3-game road trip, 6 possible points. I wanted 4 or 5. I'd be happy with 2 wins. I really wanted 2 and then a shootout loss or an overtime loss. But clearly we're down to we can get 4 points at this point, so let's just try to get them. And we still haven't played San Jose.
Man, that San Jose game is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I mean, they're hurt, but that's a tough game.
It's still the Shark Tank. The Shark Tank's fun, man. I'm ready to go back.
I miss the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I want to go back.
I think that would be a fun road trip, so we should definitely do that. Here's the thing that I thought we were going to get hot. If we talked about Washington last year, let's go back to that real quickly. After this road trip, they went on to win. So they lost to Anaheim and Los Angeles, and then they beat San Jose, beat Winnipeg, beat the Islanders, lost to Philly, beat Dallas, beat Detroit, beat Montreal, beat the Rangers, lost to Carolina, beat Pittsburgh, beat St. Louis, lost to Nashville, beat New Jersey, and then went into the playoffs hot and ended up winning the Stanley Cup. Do we see any comparisons between Washington last year and Nashville this year?
You look at the same records. I can't sit here and say yes because I didn't watch Washington play last year at all, honestly, except for when they played the Preds. So I don't know how their styles were, what was bad on their part. Like when you look at what the Preds are lacking right now, it's a lot of depth scoring. It's the power play. Man, the power play.
They did not have depth scoring.
Yeah, no, they don't.
They Ovechkin had 87 points. Kuznetsov had 83. Backstrom had 71. And then you had Carlson with 68 and Oshie then with 47.
But you can say we're lacking. Besides Phil's 2 goals the other night, our top line hasn't produced a lot lately. So it's really a lack of scoring in general right now.
Everybody for the Predators. I mean, the thing that Predators I think are missing, which I'm not saying they can't do it, because obviously I think they can, but they lack somebody that has at least, besides Granlund, I mean, a 60 or 70 point getter.
Ronnie Johansson is sort of a 60, 70 point getter.
He'll hit 60 this year. I think he's at 54 right now.
I mean, yeah.
So we say that though. Do you look at a team like Nashville and say, well, since they don't have the big name player, they just can't do anything with it?
No,
because did we have any big name players in 16, 17?
Actually,
to the Cup final?
Was it you that made the comment, or was it? Nah, it wasn't you. You weren't there the other night in Columbia. This roster is by far better than
it was. Ben Thompson.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, far better than the Stanley Cup. Right?
Oh yeah.
There's no question about it. It's
Harry Z.
I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say as far as what is it missing, because you've got the talent on the team to do whatever you want.
And this has led a lot of people into saying, and I say a lot of people,
a lot of fans on Twitter, Facebook
are saying, "Hey, fire Peter Laviolette, boys! He's the problem." Now, okay.
Yeah, we gotta go get Joe Quenneville.
No,
not at all.
No,
those people who are saying go get Joe Quenneville, shut your mouth.
Where in all honesty do we think that, so you have Nashville,
right?
We're losing. We're not quite to the playoffs yet. Most likely you're going to make the playoffs.
Well, you're making playoffs.
Yeah, you're making playoffs.
Why would you ever say fire the coach right now? And let's try to look at it. I think the three of us are in agreement. You don't go fire the coach. What is the argument of somebody right now in order to say, hey, you need to fire the coach?
The only argument you could ever possibly have against Peter Laviolette is his history going to the finals of different teams, and then kind of this
wearing out his welcome
plateau.
He plateaus after the cup. And
but the thing is, that's normally a first 15 game thing.
Yeah,
he gets to 4 or 5 games like he did in Philly, and then got fired.
Yeah,
which I think he missed the playoffs prior to that year.
He did,
but they're still making playoffs, so I don't really see an issue here.
I don't either. And even if they lose out in the first round, Peter Laviolette is not getting fired this offseason. It's not going to happen. And if he got fired next season, if we had a horrible start, which I don't think we're going to have a horrible start, but if we lost, if we were 4-12-2 to start the season, you could see it, because you got to have a turnaround.
You're kind of already...
You're screwed, honestly.
Up a creek.
Yeah. Because it's going to be hard to fight back, because when you're thinking you're 20 games in, you're almost to that Thanksgiving line. And...
You obviously can do it, but you have to go what basically St. Louis has done since January.
You got to be St. Louis. You got to slug each other in the face in practice, and then you got to turn it around, essentially.
I just don't necessarily think, if you're sitting here saying, hey, we need to fire the coach because it's a team problem, do you realize, what
would that do anyway? What does that accomplish?
Better season do you want to have right now?
I don't want to be like this, because I like our roster and I like the guys in the locker room. But do you think when they wanted to stay together for this season and try to accomplish things, do you think they're just so comfortable here that it could be affecting how they're performing? Does that even make sense?
I don't know. Because I think that if you have a group of guys who's so close,
you would think they would want to play together to stay together,
right? And I think that they do. I really do. You look at how they started out the year. I think the you
really can't point to. Is it a coach problem? Is it a player problem? You can't diagnose that.
I don't think, and I want to talk about Jacob Stinson for a minute, because he runs the account 501 Broadway. Jacob, I hope you're listening to this. But he and I were sort of chatting the other day, and I shared a lot of this with him. But it pretty much like he's the one, he's leading the charge. He's on the Fire Lab the Elect crowd, and like he's making points that like a lot of like it could make sense. Like
a lot of fans are talking.
About because it's like statistically he's bringing up these points. Here's my problem with it, and that's something I discussed with him, and we don't necessarily agree. We sort of agreed to disagree, but. I really struggle with this idea of saying, oh, we're losing, and it's awful, and Peter Laviolette's been fired in his 5th year before, and it's terrible, and it's miserable, and everything is bad, and everything is miserable, because like everything that they're saying is based in emotion. You lose a game, you're mad. You win a game, you feel a little bit better, you're like, here we go, we're starting. Here's my thing that I tried to get across. Like, literally, if you are firing this coach because you're losing, if you're calling for his head right now, at the end of a season where you are how many points out of a playoff spot or out of first in your division?
You are 1 point behind first place in the Central Division. You win tonight and Winnipeg loses and you're first in the Central. I know that in a lot of other of the like if you look at the Pacific, the Preds would be sitting at 3rd right now and it wouldn't even be close to touching 2nd. But in the Central, you are making playoffs. You are not even close to dropping out. You have St. Louis 2 full games behind you and Winnipeg within 1 game.
That is my thing. We're sitting here basing it on emotion. And I think the problem in the dressing room, I don't think it's the coach and I don't think it's the players. You know what I think it is? I think it's emotion. Yeah. I think that they are just frustrated with themselves. I think if you look, they're missing shots that they should be hitting. They're playing sloppy. The passes are missing. They're just not playing well. That's not a skill problem, and it's not a coaching problem. No, the players are all in a slump.
And it's something that you can fix in 1 game. And I say that because we've seen the Preds win recently in a few games. But like even the Minnesota games, I was never comfortable during the games. Yeah, we won 2 games in a row. Yes, they were both shootout wins. They were not pretty wins by any means. They were fight-to-the-end wins. But if you just get a few just dominant wins where you're pounding away on offense with shots and you're shutting them down on the defense and you're killing the opponent's neutral zone, like just have a few of those games to get it all back. And that's all it takes.
I mean, if you can get 1 or 2 like solid games, I'm talking like 4-1 wins.
That's what I'm saying.
4-2 total dominance. I think this team could turn around. It's just
9-2.
It's just mental.
It's blockage of this.
You can't do it. The coach can't do anything about it.
No.
The players, you can only do so much because I mean, eventually they start thinking, well, I've got to do this and this and this to make play work, and it's becoming overcomplicated for them.
And that's like you win a few games handily, and I wonder if you look at this season. I'm trying to like pull it up right now. If you look at Washington's schedule from last year, and I hate like going back to Washington because we're not Washington, but if you go back and look at their record, so they were lost like 4-0 to the Ducks, 3-1 to the Kings, then they beat the Sharks 2-0, then they won 7-2, then they won 3-2, then they won 7-3, then 6-3. Suddenly you notice a pattern. They're winning games handily.
I really hope LA tonight, because the Preds play LA tonight, and I really hope that is a turnaround game. This has such potential to be a turnaround game.
I'm not kidding. If you go out and beat the Sharks,
if you
you go into the Shark tank and win a game, you're like, oh, we're back in this. And you realize we're a good team.
But, you know, to beat the Sharks, I think you need to beat the Kings. Because I think you have to get some confidence back tonight to go into the Shark Tank and make it happen. Because that's going to be a primetime Saturday game for California, and it's going to be rocking.
We say that. It also could be a thing where you don't win tonight and you're going to that game on Saturday like, we have to win tonight.
Yeah. It's a desperation game, which they should be playing desperate hockey anyway right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to get that first in the Central spot.
I would too.
I would love that.
Well, because if you get the first in the Central spot, you avoid... You essentially get Dallas, and you would love...
Oh, yeah.
Or Arizona.
Arizona's not going to get that second. If Arizona's in, they're getting...
Hey, they could. They're only 2 points away. Hey, Arizona is the hottest team in the Western Conference right now.
Are they not the hottest team in the league?
Their last 10, they're 8-2. But
Tampa's just as hot. Washington's just as hot.
8-2.
I will say this. You know, everybody's overreacting, right, to these losses. But you look at the Predators' last 10, they're 5-5-0. Then you look at Jets, who are 4-6-0, and then you look at the Blues, who are 4-4-2.
I think the Blues peaked early. I'm going to be honest.
They absolutely. Well, it got them into a playoff spot, which is at this they're just happy to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but you know, all it takes is a Dallas win and a St. Louis loss, and they're tied as far as that goes. So I could see St. Louis, if they keep on this whole stretch they're going, they're going to stay in playoff spot. Yeah. But they might bump down to a wild card, and Dallas could bump up to that third spot. And that could really mess. You might end up still playing St. Louis if you ended up first in the Central. So when you think about it, because Dallas is 2 points away from St. Louis. St. Louis is 4 points away from us, but we're only 1 point away from Winnipeg.
I love the Arizona Coyotes.
Here's the thing.
It is so tight. Anything in playoffs can happen.
But here's the thing. If you look at St. Louis, they have, 36 wins? So, technically tonight, if everything stays the same, St. Louis will lose to Arizona 3-1. Right now it's 3-1.
Whoa. They're playing right now?
Wait. Maybe no. That's last game. Sorry, that's last game. Wait, they're playing in Ottawa. Hold on. Yeah, they're
St. Louis is playing in Ottawa.
This is last game.
Oh, that should be a win.
It's 0-0 right now.
Arizona plays at Anaheim tonight, by the way.
Yeah. But anyway, if the St. Louis Blues
who they lost to
lose
last week
tonight and the Dallas Stars beat the Minnesota Wild, they will move into the third spot in the Central, and that'll put Minnesota down into wild card number 1.
Not Minnesota.
I'm not sorry, not Minnesota, St. Louis.
That's actually fascinating.
Jets are up 2-1 on Boston at the end of the first.
That's not good. But Boston's going to come back.
Boston, man.
Hey, let's not get on the Boston because we could talk for hours on Boston.
I could, man.
And I don't necessarily know if we should do that right now.
Not the time.
Brad on Twitter said, how concerned are we going forward into the playoffs?
I mean, there is some concern, right, with this team.
There is.
Explain your concern.
I mean, they're just not consistent.
You got to see if they get hot. I mean,
if they continue on this track of
5-5 for the next
5-5, 4-6 or so, and you're scoring maybe 3 goals a game if you're lucky, that's a concern.
Yeah.
But the thing is, do these players change once playoffs start?
Yeah. Do you feel more comfortable? I mean, obviously, if the Preds win 10 of their next 13 games, you're going to feel more comfortable than if they win 8 of their next 13 games, and that's just how emotional fans are. We're going to be more excited if they win more. But how are you going to feel if we go in only winning half of our games remaining? How would you feel if we won 8 of our last 13 games? About the first round. It's hard to say. I don't even know how many games we have. 13
I
or
think
so? 11?
Yeah.
If we won 6 games out of the 11, how would you feel going into playoffs?
That's not good.
That's basically lose, win.
You know, I said I think they have to win at least 6 games. And 11, including tonight.
Yeah.
They have to win at least 6 games out of the next 11. I mean, that's basically putting just over 500.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't feel great, but it's better than, being 4-6.
I think to win the Central, you need at least 8 of 11 wins.
To win the Central? Yeah, I could see
that.
Yeah,
well, absolutely.
And I want to win the Central.
But to me, to have confidence, I think you have to win. You have 11 left. I think for me to have confidence going in the first round, 7 or 8.
But
8's my number.
Here's my thing. Even if they win 6, if they're scoring, 4 goals a night, then the only thing you're concerned about is goaltending.
Which I'm concerned about right now.
Well, I'm not concerned about Saros.
I'm concerned about Pekka.
Yeah, Pekka.
Which is who's going to play in playoffs.
Yeah, because I still think if Saros and Rene, say they split the games, right, in the next 11, and someone's going to get an extra start. All right. But Pekka plays worse than Saros. I still think they should play Saros, which they won in the first 2 games, just like Washington last season. If it doesn't work out, then you pull.
That's the thing that I look at Washington last year and say Grubauer started the first 2 games, and they ended up saying, that was the wrong choice. Start Saros, who's a better under pressure goalie anyways. This is something that let's look back. Last year, Washington had to use 2 goalies. Even though they only used Grubauer for the first 2 games, they used him, and he kind of lit a spark under him. The year before that, the Penguins used Matt Murray and
they used Fleury all the way up until the
Eastern Conference Final when Fleury let in 7, and they were like, all right, Murray's coming in.
But Murray...
The year before that, they used Murray and Fleury.
It's not a bad idea. But they won't do it because everybody says Rene has to play in the playoffs because he is a starting goalie.
Yeah.
Frick starting goalie. You basically have 2 starting goalies.
I don't. That's the thing. Saros' numbers are great. I don't understand why they are so against playing Saros.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. But then you say, well, you have 2 starting goalies. People say, what does that mean? Well, I don't know. But, I mean, they have 2 capable starting goalies. If you put Saros on one team and Rene on another, they're both going to be starting goalies for each team.
Hey, Cole, what do their numbers look like? Are you looking at that right now? Saros and Rene.
Oh, no, I was actually looking at the playoff games that Washington played last year, and you were right. They started Grubauer, lost 2 games, put Holtby in, won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But they beat Columbus. Yeah. Now, here's Pekka Rinne. You got to remember, UC Saros had a horrible start to this. Well, he had a good start, and then he went through a really bad stretch in December.
Yeah.
But
everyone was slumping then for us, though.
So Pekka, except for Pekka back then, Pekka's played 47 games, or 48, but 47 starts. He has 24 wins, 18 losses, 3 overtime losses. He has a 2.54 goals allowed and a 9.12 save percentage. And then Saros has started 28. He's started 24, played 28. 15 wins, 9 losses, 2 overtime losses with 2.65 goals allowed and a 9.14. Now that does not reflect how he's played since basically January. Because it was at one point like 3 something and then 0.86 something.
Obviously, Pekka has more shots when you look at the stats, but man, I feel like every time Saros plays, there's at least 40 shots on net against Saros.
But the thing is, he handles it.
And he handles it well.
So I feel like Saros forces the bad shot.
I do too.
He forces them because of his positioning.
He's so small. He has to come out a lot farther than any other goalie, and he has to be quick. And that's the key to his success. Is he's not small, but he has to make the simple save, which Pekka does now too. He changed that 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but Saros has to come out and challenge the puck, but he also has to give a little if it's a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
But he plays and he reads the play so well, and how he can do it, I really don't know. I mean, it's a really hard thing to do.
He's done well in 2-on-1 situations this year.
Yeah, because he reads it well. He picks and chooses because
the high danger areas. He's great.
Pekka can back in and still fill up the net because he's so tall.
Yeah.
But Saros is almost 7 inches shorter than Rene. So he plays it really well, and he gives the player a hard angle to shoot for. He's out so far.
And that's kind of why I wonder, do you start Saros in Game 1? And if Saros wins, do you start him in Game 2? And if he wins Game 2, do you let Saros start until he proves that he can't do anything?
Yeah, like if you give up 2 goals in the first, you gotta pull him.
And now we're saying all this. I hope it sparks Rene to get hot, and you are like, well, obviously you're starting to get Rene.
You know how in the past playoffs, especially when we played Winnipeg in the last game of that series, when we played Pittsburgh at home on Game 6 when they won, both of those games, Pekka crapped the bed in the first and gave up 3 goals and didn't get pulled till after the 3rd goal, and it's too late.
I love Pekka Rinne, and he is probably the reason this franchise is still here.
Absolutely.
But it comes to a point where you have to make the change.
Well, you got
to put your feelings aside.
He can't play in the big time games, and I love Pekka, but he just struggles when it comes to like the games that matter.
Yep.
And it hurts me to say that because I love that man, and I think he is such a good image. He's the perfect, like what you want your athletes to be. He's it. But man, he has to be better, or you have to play Saros. Let's move on a little bit. The Central Division this year, boys. We talked about this a little bit already. The Central Division is bad.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's the worst. Yeah, it is. Points-wise, it's the worst division in the NHL.
Really bad, actually.
Considering the fall-off
is far behind the Metro, but it's worse.
Yeah.
The fact that Winnipeg, like, when you look at the current streaks of the teams, Winnipeg's 4-6-0 in the last 10, Nashville's 5-5-0, St. Louis is 4-4-2. Awful.
But
abysmal.
You look at the Metro and Pittsburgh, who has 85 points to be first in the Central. So that tells me, and the third place St. Louis Blues have 79 points. So it's a pretty bad division.
Man, same games played with 70.
But then you also look at,
you have 81 points each, and they're both 5-5 in their last 10. Montreal and Columbus are going back and forth off that last wild card spot.
Yeah.
It's
Can I give a stat real quickly that I thought was interesting?
Yeah.
And I love comparing Nashville to Washington last year because I think it's a pretty fun comparison. Washington last year, when it came down to it. Sorry, got super distracted for a minute. Washington, the Metropolitan Division was where? And no one look it up.
Wait, say that again? Where was Washington in the Metro?
Washington was in the Metro Division.
Right.
Compared to the other divisions, where do you guys think the Metro finished?
I'm going to say last.
Last.
They were bad last year.
Only because you asked the question in that tone of voice, I had to guess last.
I'm an idiot. I just got...
Where do you think the Metro finished? Last, Ben, because you said it so dramatically.
I got distracted.
It's fine. We forgive you.
I'm a moron.
But yeah, Metro finished last.
So Metro finished last. Now, this is not super consistent. The year before that, when Pittsburgh won, the Metro was the best.
Yeah.
But the year before that, it wasn't the best division, though. And, you go back, and it's never the best division that wins it.
Right.
I'm going to look that year, 16, 17.
Yeah. And so, when you look at it, I think it was the Atlantic that year, maybe?
Atlantic was the worst.
That's right. Atlantic was really bad.
16-17, Atlantic was the worst.
And
Montreal was the best with 103. Ottawa with 98, and Boston with 95.
They had that. Montreal started out the season really well.
Yeah, Atlantic was bad. Then the year before that, they were even worse. Detroit got in with 93 points.
Nashville's second wild card spot and 94 points went to the Cup final.
Yeah,
I love that.
Here's my thing. It's yes,
it's so
the Central Division is bad.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
Maybe they're just saving up for playoffs. I don't know.
I'm all right with it.
It's okay. Maybe the Jets have a secret plan that we don't know about.
I mean,
But to the fans, Peter Laviolette doesn't need to get fired. Don't stress because the rest of the Central Division sucks, so we can still come in first if we want to. Tell the players that. Maybe their attitude will change.
That's my thing. It's we can sit here and it's frustrating because, and I said this Tuesday night when I was at my house, it's not it used to be enjoying games, now it's enduring games. It's like the Preds have a game against the Kings tonight. Great, I have to stay up till 12
and I'm going to stress every ounce of it.
And here's the thing. You got to stay up till 12, and if they play like they played in Anaheim in the first two periods, I'm not going to be a happy person.
I went to bed. I told you guys. I was I'm going to bed, and I woke up. Forsberg scored 2 goals.
Well, Heath and a guy named Ben Thompson, one of our friends, was at the house, and Forsberg scored, and we just got way too hyped because it was the first time we'd seen a good play in so long, and then he scored again.
It's the first time Forsberg scored in feels like a year.
Yeah.
My goodness, dude was cold.
The Central's trash, but if we can, it doesn't matter. It's all about if you're in. Are you in the playoffs? And if you're in,
everything changes.
Make a run.
The Coyotes are making a run.
If we have to lose to someone in the playoffs, it better
not be the Coyotes.
It better be.
If we're losing to anyone, it better be Arizona.
I would rather lose to Arizona than Winnipeg.
Oh, I know.
I will never. Okay, even if the Predators do play the Arizona Coyotes, they're probably going to lose because guess what? The last time they played, they got beaten 5 games.
That's a different situation.
I know
that was 2012.
Also, we had Mike Smith and Alexander Radulov failed. And
I know.
So throw all that aside. Wait, don't throw that aside. You would rather lose to the Jets than the Coyotes?
At least the Jets are good.
But the Jets take me off.
I would at least like to have a team to cheer for if the Preds get knocked out.
If the
I have a team to cheer for. It's the Sharks.
If the Coyotes beat me, I'm going to throw my Yotes jersey on for the rest of playoffs and cheer them on. Fly out to Arizona and go to a game.
If you guys haven't seen the picture of us outside of Gila River Arena from last week, we look good.
And it's our Twitter header, so go to the Hattie Podcast on Twitter, and that's our Twitter header.
You need to see it.
It's a quality picture.
It really is a quality picture.
iPhone XS quality. That's how high quality we're talking.
It looks good, and we all have our own different Yotes jerseys on. Man, we look great. We'll get to that in a little bit though, because I definitely want to talk about that experience later in the show. But the Central Division is bad, and I don't think it means anything for us. Now, a team that isn't bad, that people think is bad now,
bro, they're sick.
Tampa. No, Tampa's good. Tampa's never bad.
The other T.
Toronto. The Leafs.
Go Leafs.
They
had the flu.
Apparently.
Like, the whole team had the flu.
Of course, what was the whole team? Like, who was out?
A lot.
Like, Kasperi Kapanen.
Okay, that's a good depth guy.
Nikita Zaitsev, I think. And someone else.
Somebody else.
Yeah, there was one more, like, key player out. I say key. Nikita Zaitsev he isn't that great of a D guy. Anyway, but they had the whole team apparently had the flu. Corey Crawford left in the first or second period he got sick. Like, I don't know if it's something in Scotiabank Arena, but Corey Crawford got sick in Toronto.
No, it's a Leaf. They have a Leafs player who played with the flu, and it's like, if anyone, like, they were just like, hey, go cough in Corey Crawford's face so we can start scoring some goals.
go give a good loogie in the locker room or something before in the visitor's locker room. No, I don't know.
Put it all over their mouth.
The Leafs are sick.
Oh, that's a nasty.
They just got beat. They just got beat 6-2 the other night. They got beat 5-4 last night, but they were down 5-0. So credit to them for coming back and almost beating.
Did you guys watch the Dangle video?
Oh my gosh. It was great.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
If you guys don't know who Steve Dangle is, he makes videos for the Leafs, and like he just screams. And last night, like after the second period, he just went and made a video, and then he had to like finish and remake the video afterward. So funny. Like, go watch it. It's just Steve Dangle on YouTube.
It's good stuff.
It's so fun, especially Nashville 9-2 video.
The Nashville 9-2 video, I would recommend starting with that, just because A, most of you guys are probably Preds fans, and B, it's fantastic.
So here is who was scratched through the night.
Hey, it's worth a shot. The Leafs are better at winning the draft lottery than the
That's Steve Dangle for you, and I don't even know how I got it to that point right there, and that was a perfect quote from Steve Dangle.
As he's sitting there wearing like an army hat on his head, weird dude.
I love him. I love everything about him.
So, Heath, you were about to go through who was scratched for Toronto the other night.
Yeah, until he interrupted me.
My bad.
But it was a good video. I love that video. But, so, Justin Hull,
yeah.
Zach Hyman, Travis Dermott, Kasperi Kapanen, and Jake Gardner.
That man, their defensive core was eliminated.
Yeah.
Because that's Hall, Dermott.
Yep.
Gardner's on my fantasy. He's been out for like a month.
That's tough. Man. Here's the question. The Leafs, are they for real?
I think so. Once they get
I think that if they play like they did in the third period last night,
man.
Can happen when they like go to like a salt med spa and get healthy again and get a massage and get their toes done and everything, drink some Gatorade. I think this team can be deadly. They have one of the most talented rosters in the entire NHL. How do you not be good?
I wonder what
their defense likes a little bit. You got Morgan Riley, you got Jake Muzzin, which they're yeehawing about. I don't see what's special about him. Other than that, but man, they have lethal offense. Lethal.
What is their record versus Tampa this year? Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
I think it's 2-1.
They lost to Tampa.
I think it's 4-1
in December, right? And then they beat them in January, and then they lost to them 6-2. They play them again one more time near the end of the year. Tampa has their number, but in a playoff series, does Toronto find a way to beat Tampa?
You need to worry about does Toronto find a way to beat Boston?
No, we're talking about Tampa right now.
They don't get to Tampa.
We're talking, could Toronto beat Tampa?
No.
I think so.
I don't think
Heath,
so.
why do you think so?
I just think they can.
I think they could.
I think they can.
Skill-wise, I think they can. Will they? No. I think Tampa is too good.
Yeah.
I think Boston's too good. Yeah. To go back to your point.
I agree. Yeah. When it comes down to it, Tampa will never see Toronto because Toronto will be eliminated by Boston.
What if they're not? What if Toronto sweeps Boston first round? Do they go to the Stanley Cup?
You talk about
could be because they rest. I mean, look at the Preds. We went to the Stanley Cup when we swept Chicago. Why? Because we had like a week and a half to rest.
But Toronto hasn't. They still have yet to beat Boston, right? In the first round.
That's true.
They can't do it.
They can't.
That's the
thing. If they can come out with some form of mentality and just absolutely annihilate them like the Predators did.
Do you remember why Pekka beat the Blackhawks so badly? It's because he was tired of losing to them.
And if they can come out like that, they can beat the Bruins. You can get past Tuukka Rask if you really need to.
When's the last time the Leafs actually beat the Bruins?
Like,
in a game?
In a game.
I don't even know.
Toronto versus Boston. Because this is an interesting stat to look up. Toronto versus Boston. Oh, the Leafs beat them on November 26th.
Well, there you go.
That's the last time. That's got to feel good if you're Toronto.
Well, it doesn't hurt.
I mean, but then again,
it's also November.
It's not the playoffs.
Yeah.
But then again, Boston beat them 6-3 in December 8th.
I mean, playoffs is a different animal. You think everyone had Chicago favored to beat us in the first round. Why? Because Chicago was number one in the
Chicago had went to the finals that year before.
And the Preds literally skimped into playoffs limping on one leg as far as points go.
Well,
we have like the lowest amount of points, yeah. So you get any of these teams and it's just a totally different story. So, I don't know.
Man, the Boston-Toronto series might be the best first-round series.
I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I'm going to be not in the country.
I hope it's different days.
Where are you going to be?
The Bahamas.
Because you got a honeymoon. You know what? I'm missing a week, too, because I'm going on a cruise during playoffs. So yeah.
That's what I'll be on a cruise.
At least yours is early, because mine's at the end of May.
Hey, and also, I will gladly miss a few hockey games to be on a honeymoon with my fiancé. My going-to-be wife at that point.
Loser.
I'm sorry. I just care more about a woman than
Preds? That's dumb.
The Preds.
Kidding. I got a girlfriend. I don't need to say that.
I know.
Yeah, he's the single. He can say whatever he wants.
Cole, do you think you'll have kids in the next 4 years?
God, I can't even imagine that. Don't ask me that.
Cole, I think you're going to have kids in the next 3 years.
Ben?
3 years.
I think you're going to have a kid on the way in the next 3 months.
That's really
Ben gets married in 29 days.
30 days.
30 days exactly? Wow.
Yeah.
And then in the next 3 months, I bet there's a baby announcement.
There's a mini Ben?
There's a mini Ben.
Let's avoid... What?
You brought this topic up.
It would be really cool to eventually have a little redhead running around, but...
I'm only saying this because Ben told me when we were in Florida a few weeks ago, he was like, yeah, I think I want to wait like 4 or 5 years to have kids. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be good. And I'm like, but knowing Ben, something's going to happen. They're going to have like a kid. They're not going to like mean to, but they're going to have a kid like tomorrow.
Let's change this. Cole, you're never going to have a child. Let's just pretend that we're never going to have kids.
Yes, no one's having kids.
That's so scary.
Moving on, yeah, the Leafs are sick. They're going to be good. They're going to be all right. They're going to get better. They're going to go take their vitamins and get back in it.
The Leafs are going to go to the Stanley Cup final. I'm still counting.
I know Boston's going to the Stanley Cup
Boston's
final.
going to destroy.
False.
He's pulled out of Donald Trump.
The Penguins and the Sharks. It's over. That's all I have to say.
It's gonna be Boston.
Man, but Pittsburgh could get in, which is so annoying.
They're gonna get in.
Pittsburgh could. Okay, so Pittsburgh is 6-2-2 in their last.
They are, and they're third in the Metro.
They're getting hot.
Matt Murray is finally looking like a real goalie.
Yeah, and they're 6-2-2 in their last 10.
I hate Pittsburgh so much.
Dude, they always get hot.
I know. They're masters at it. Sidney Crosby is a master of it.
Honestly, if I was a Pens fan at this point, I'd be like, I'm not going to start watching Pens hockey till like February. Because when? Why? Because they get hot.
Or care.
Yeah,
care about a loss. I don't care about a loss unless they're absolutely going to miss playoffs. I wouldn't care about a loss. One thing that we want to finish up on today is I want to talk about Gila River Arena, which is the home of the Arizona Coyotes, in comparison to Bridgestone Arena. Let's make the comparison. It was weird to walk into Bridgestone Arena on Saturday night.
Bridgestone Arena.
It was.
Okay, let's throw facts out there. Bridgestone Arena is much nicer. Why? The floors are a lot nicer. The seats are a lot nicer. The concourses are bigger. What does Arizona have on us? They got a nice Jumbotron, but guess what Nashville's getting next year? A Jumbotron. So when we're comparing these, ask me in a year who has a better arena.
Here's the thing that I noticed when I walked into the arena on Saturday night in Nashville that was different Thursday in Arizona was just like a unspoken energy.
In Nashville?
Yeah.
In Nashville.
I feel that. It's very laid back, and I don't get it because Arizona's in a playoff spot now. They're scratching and clawing, as they're saying.
Like, it feels weird. Like, when we were sitting there, like, I had a great time at that game.
So
but there's no energy.
When Clayton Keller got a gorgeous feed, like, it was beautiful. And I just didn't necessarily feel like I was at an NHL game. And that sounds, I enjoyed it. It was definitely an NHL game, and I loved it. And I love going to games in Arizona.
They beat the Flames, shut out the Flames.
Yeah, it was great. But you also, like, when you go to Nashville, you feel like the spectacle is something.
Yeah.
When you go to...
It's more than a game when you come to Nashville.
Yeah.
When you go to Arizona and you're sitting in the seat, you're there watching a game. Now, I will shout out the fans down near the glass. They were getting pretty hyped and turning around and yelling stuff right below us.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, like...
It's a pretty dead arena.
It's pretty dull.
And, like, when they scored, they would stand up for 15 seconds and then start sitting back down.
I was still standing. I was like, what's up, guys?
We were like...
Y'all were sitting down?
It felt awkward to keep standing. Yeah. But, like...
then, like, another thing, right? Nashville is very loud, right?
Yeah.
And you go there, you feel like you can't even, like, say a word because it's so quiet.
We talked the whole game.
Arizona... if they're in the playoffs, it gets pretty loud there.
I would love to go to a game there in the playoffs.
But it's a completely different feel.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I say all this. I loved Arizona, and, like...
It's such a relaxing time.
If I lived there, there's no way I would not have season tickets.
No, yeah.
I could honestly do Upper Bowl and be happy.
Yeah, the bottom of that 200 level is beautiful.
Yeah, the bottom of that
end zone.
Now, they only have, if you're a Preds fan, you're thinking 200 levels club level. Their 300s is their 300s is their 200s, like the Preds 300s.
So, yeah, their 200 the equivalent for their 200 levels are 300 levels.
Yeah.
And
that's the highest it gets. And it is a great seat when you're on that front row.
Amazing.
And how much do we say full season
700 something for the bottom, or for that 300 end zone level. Or
on the end zone of the top level is $700.
And it was a great seat.
It was a great seat.
I would have season tickets like that.
It would basically be like sitting at the bottom of the 200 level in Bridgestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great seat. And I like that end zone one. It's really nice.
I do too. It was very nice.
Man, Gila River Arena is great, but it does not feel as exotic as Bridgestone or Staples Center or
San Jose.
Which then,
Toronto.
The group of people sitting here delivering this podcast to you right now, I think me and Heath have been to like 15 now, and I think Ben's at 14 or 13.
I'm at 9.
Oh, you're at 9?
Including Nashville.
I think we're at 14. Yeah. But we've been to nearly half the arenas in the NHL, and Nashville's the best. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased, but when you're talking now, Winnipeg was cool during playoffs.
I don't know, man. Yeah, no, I get it. Well, I was thinking, it's hard to say, it's hard not to mention Edmonton. But there's nothing around.
Edmonton is good, but I'm talking when you add
like
all the
full fan experience.
when you add the full fan experience of outside the arena, what are you doing before the game? Inside the arena, the shops, the music, the energy, the fan interactions during the game with the in-arena people, the chances to do things and interact with people of the Preds during the games. And our food's pretty good.
And it's not, I mean, it's like you said, it's not
Puckett's
just
at Bridgestone Arena.
It's not,
oh, yes.
You get Puckett's barbecue, you get tacos.
You get tacos. It's not just, though, like you talked about, hockey. I mean, you have so much more to do.
It's more than hockey.
Now, I will say this. My second favorite place besides, if I'm talking playoffs, is probably Winnipeg.
Winnipeg was awesome.
Because it's a very nice arena. It's small.
But it's not.
But it's a lot like Bridgestone, but there's nothing else to do.
No.
But my favorite place is San Jose outside.
San Jose is an awesome arena.
And no, Arizona.
No, it's not.
Arizona.
I love the Shark Tank. Are you kidding me?
It was great to watch a game, but that arena was not.
It's not
okay. Yeah, the floors were about Arizona level where they were concrete.
The thing about the arena is that if you walked up to it, you would not know a hockey game.
No, you wouldn't. But the inside, when I walked in with all the color and everything, it was
like in the
I enjoyed
arena.
it. Yeah, in the arena.
But like if you like the concourses,
or
like concrete, like steps underneath.
It's like if you were going to a Titans game.
Yeah, it's not like the concourses are junk. And
now, as far as other arenas, it's hard to beat Rogers Place when we went to Edmonton.
It is because they got a nice casino
it's nearly new. They got a casino and a restaurant built into the arena. And it's just an awesome experience.
And Staples Center was pretty nice, too.
Staples Center is very nice. It's LA. What do you expect?
Minnesota XL Energy in Minnesota was super nice.
Yeah, Minnesota was super nice.
Nice. Arizona, the area around Arizona and Glendale.
Oh, you can't beat Arizona's ambiance outside of the arena with all the bars, the shops, the food, The hotels, you got like 5 hotels within walking distance.
It just feels cool. Like it feels,
and it's 70 degrees
all year long.
Yeah, in friggin' like February, it's 70 degrees. Like So anyway,
I don't know how I got on that tangent.
I don't either, but it was nice.
It was epic.
I needed to get it out of my system.
It was fun.
Bridgestone's the best, so there you have it.
If you are not a Nashville Predators fan and you're listening from somewhere else, hopefully from Canada, but I don't think we have any Canadian listeners. I think it's like United States, and I think we have an Australian listener.
What?
It's pretty weird. I need to go back and look at some stats, but thank you for listening, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up.
One thing.
Oh, my goodness.
The Sharks can clinch tonight.
What?
With a win against the Florida Panthers, and the Wild lose to the Dallas. The Wild, lose in regulation to the Dallas Stars, or the Wild get 1 point and against Dallas, and Arizona Coyotes lose in regulation.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Arizona's not going to lose tonight.
Yeah, take that. Boom.
But if Minnesota loses to Dallas, which I think they are currently.
Then they clinch.
And the Sharks win. Dallas Stars beating them 3-0. So
because they're up 20 points with 10 games left. That makes sense.
If the Sharks win tonight, they clinch the first. It'll be the first clinch for the West. And that's about it. That's all I got.
That's exciting. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button. We love you very much. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Go Preds, and don't fire love your way. That's it. Whoa!